requirements.
Good evening, my name is Daniel Howell. I am the Assistant Ramsey County State's Attorney. And I am here first to address the statutory requirements for the dissolution hearing tonight. There are three major statutory requirements to the hearing itself. First and foremost of those, that the proposal itself comes from the Edmore School Board. This hearing is being held based on their finding that the dissolution of the schools is best for children. And then after that, the next statutory requirement is that the notice of tonight's hearing was advertised in the counties in which part of the school district exists. And so that would be Walsh County, Nelson County, Ramsey County, and Dakota County. The dates of publication of the affidavit from Walsh County is signed by Jackie Thompson. And she and it was published in the city of Grafton, County of Walsh, and the state of North Dakota by the Reorganization Company. The Nelson County affidavit of publishing is signed by Denise Westad, and her affidavit claims that, or states that the affidavit was received on February 29th and was published 14 days ahead of tonight's hearing. Next is an affidavit from Ramsey County signed by Christy Moulton, certifying that she did publish the notice of hearing for tonight's hearing on 3/7/2024, which is 14 days. And finally, in Dakota County, notice of publishing affidavit is signed by, I believe that's Sarah Kemp, and that was published in Dakota County on March 1st of 2024. And finally, the last statutory requirement is a confirmation of the surrounding school districts. Business managers specifically have received notice of the dissolution hearing, and it is confirmed that they have, and that latest notice was on April 4th, 2024, but they have been noticed repeatedly as the proposal has been updated. I think that's everything from me, Joe.
So at this time, I would like the committee members to introduce themselves. Candy Wisconsin. Bill Butler.
Scott Orlowski.
Jeff Burke.
Steve Swan.
So before we call the meeting to order, there have been some time since the committee has met, and we need to nominate a chairman. So at this time, I'll ask for any nomination for a chairperson. A nomination for Jeff Burke, and a quick second. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Jeff is the chairperson. I now will ask for nominations for a vice chairperson. Any nominations?
Yes, I'll nominate Andy Christopherson.
Have another nomination for Candy Christopherson. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have our chairperson. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Jeff Prim.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Big auditorium.
Hold it off, hold it.
What? All right. Test 1, 2, check. Okay, thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Some rules, some outlines, some guidelines. We'd like to keep things civil and organized. Please be respectful to people's time and be respectful to others as well and their opinions. We all have one, right? And we will start things off with, I guess I would ask the superintendent of Edmore School, Mr. Frank Schell, to come up and present to the audience. We are asking that everybody come to the podium that wants to testify, state your name and where you're from. And we're going to try to limit the time for people's presentations, so we can be respectful for everybody's time and get out before the roosters go tomorrow morning. With that, Mr. Shaw, go ahead.
Chairman Grimm, members of the Ramsey County Dissolution Board, I'd ask for just a little bit of attitude as my testimony is obviously to present the plan, but also board the journey of the Edmore School Board of how they arrived at that time. So we take a few more minutes with the attitude. First thing, I don't have a dog in this fight. I serve as a superintendent. I work for the Board of Education. And if I made an observation to this, is that the school board also, for the most part, wanted to follow the process of what's been done in the past regarding dissolution. So they wanted to trust the process. We saw advice from previous superintendents, Department of Public Instruction, and attorneys to carry out the process that was been done in the past to the best of our knowledge. And when it came to the land, trusted set guidelines, and then followed the process and trusted Jody to provide those guidelines. And then at the end of the day, the board did approve the plan in its entirety. So with that said, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but I just want to draw some distinctions, some definitions Dissolution obviously means it's a process in which school district ceases to function and subsequent land is attached to other school districts that are contiguously touching others from the Edmore school district. In the dissolution, this is done by board action. It does not require it to go to the patrons. And if there are disputes to the property, it's handled at the county level and this level right here, not the school board level. In the reorganization, that is when two districts or more want to get together and form a new district. That requires a plan, such as the dissolution plan requires a plan, but also requires a vote of the patrons in both those districts. And the annexation is referred to, and this is all Century Code definitions, it's an alteration of the school district boundaries. So most commonly is when a parent has a child in a school district and they want their child to attend a neighboring school district and they want their land of which they reside to go to that district. That requires the school-age child to reside on the property, and it requires that a petition is filled out, application, and moving of that land goes before a county board, and is approved. But it is something that all three of these have different parameters, different guidelines per Century Code. So, on to the timeline. I'll keep trying to keep it short. From 2000 to 2012, Edmore and Adams were in educational cooperative. In 2012, the Adams School District chose to enter into a reorganization with the Park River School District, at which time both voters of both school districts voted and approved that plan. And at that point in time, it became the Park River Area School District. Adams, all property from the Adams School District was brought into the Park River School District, and it was a new district was formed. At that point in time, Edmore had to decide what they wanted to do. And so Edmore chose to move back to a K-12 school serving students in kindergarten to 12th grade. In the previous arrangement in cooperative, they educated kids grades 7 to 12 in Edmore. So at that point in time, the board knew that they probably would not exist as a school district forever. So they started talking about what might they do to serve kids as long as they could. When that day came, how could they possibly use the building, keep it going as a community center, and then still serve some purpose for the area? They looked at reorganization, and in Century Code, not handouts with this attached, but they looked at reorganization. We were sports ball with Dakota, and then we moved to sports ball with Langley. And they looked at possibly at a reorganization, but in Century Code, you'll see that after, if they were to enter into a reorganization of any school district, after 5 years, that school board would not be bound to follow that plan any longer. So, for instance, if Edmore would have said, I'll use Langdon as an example, if they would have reorganized with Langdon, 5 years after the reorganization took place, part of that reorganization plan was stated, you will keep the building in Edmore, the school open and paid to keep the lights for 20 years. After 5 years, the newly reorganized district, that board would say, you know what, things aren't working out this week for us. It's not a good idea for keep. We can't afford to keep the lights and heat on to keep that more building any longer. And they would not have to follow that reorganization plan 5 years. Knowing that, the school board of Edmore said, you know what, that's probably not our best route. Let's look at something else. We want to keep the building open longer and shut the doors. They then asked me to explore the option of a joint powers agreement with the city, political subdivision, and upon working with the attorney, and also seeking an attorney general's opinion regarding transferring the building and also assets to the city. Once that was explored, we were told that that was not legal to do. There's nothing in Century Code that allowed us to transfer a building or sell property for less than fair market value in dissolution, and also transferring assets. That was not allowed. So the joint powers agreement is on the table as well. So next, the board asked me to explore possibly changing Century Code. So I sat down with Representative Johnson and drafted a bill in 2021, House Bill 1337, which then allowed for selling property for less than fair market value, transferring the building, and also transferring assets to another political subdivision. With that in place, at the end of the 2021 session, the board now felt that if and when that time came to enter into dissolution, that they'd still be able to keep the building open, keep the lights, and maintenance, and possibly just buy some time and keep that building in play for 10 to 15 years. So then, in November of 2022, Board President Bridgie and myself, upon direction of the board, sat down with the City Council, and they approved entering into an agreement of which they would allow the building to be transferred to the city, and they would then keep the lights when these were transferred. In July, upon further discussion, the city agreed to form a committee comprised of 2 city council members, 2 school board members, and then the mayor, to determine how that money would be spent, to make sure that it was spent on its intended purpose, and that is towards the school for maintenance, heating lights. In October 10 of 2023, the board meeting, the school board then voted to dissolve the district and enter a year non-operating status starting July 2024. December 11th, the Edmore School District Board of Directors held a special meeting inviting district patrons to attend. During that meeting, our presentation was given explaining how we plan on disposing of assets and how that decision plan might work. In December 2023, I started working with Jody Johnson, who was hired by the Ramsey County Commissioners to draw up that reorganization plan. And then we through that working with Jody, the board gave 4, I'll use directives or these guidelines and try to follow these guidelines. And that's on page 2 in the handout here. And that is, as with previous dissolutions, how the land is divided is they find out where the students go to or intend to go to a neighboring district, and then divide that land up into the same percentages where the students. The board felt, as I said earlier in my testimony, that the board wanted to follow the process of past practice. So that was the guideline, the first guideline. So, for instance, 50% of the students in the Edmore district chose to go to Langdon, 50% were to choose to go to Dakota. Then, obviously, the guidelines were to try to send 50% of the property valuation to the Langdon district, 50% to Dakota. Try to involve that percentage and try to keep the dollar amount within hopefully $100,000. Because listening to Jody, it's quite a task to buy that land up and try to get $100,000 would sound easy, but it seems like it's a task. Second parameter was if a parent, in the parent surveys, if a parent, second parameter is if those, most of our students were going to Langley and Dakota. So the board wanted to make sure that those two districts receive the largest percentage of students, that to make sure that those two districts were not shorted in property evaluation. Because during that exact science, wanted to make sure they receive the full property evaluation possible in environment evaluation. Third round was parents who had students residing in the best Edmore school district boundaries and request that their land be attached to the neighboring district that they were attending. If possible, try to make sure that that would take place and their property would be attached to that neighboring district which their child attended. That was met with the exception of one, which Jody got very close with, but I think it will work for that family. And the fourth guideline given was that as Langdon and Edmore sports co-op, Langdon, we feel, uses Edmore as a practice facility. So if possible, dividing up the land, have the city of Edmore be part of the Langdon district when the land is divided up. And so Jody was able to do that, I believe. Now just make reference, if you turn to page 17, this is the old map. Just want to draw some things to your attention. When it comes to parents attaching the land to the neighboring district, you'll see those ovals. Those are instances where there is a request, just examples of requests of how that was achieved, that their farm was able to be attached to the neighboring district. Sometimes that's not achievable. And I'll just draw for an example. If you look at the town of Berryhill, you'll see the Matthews family on the east side of the district. And I drew a triangle towards the community district. That's what they like to dot in the town. Well, if you try, you can see that Jody would have tried to attach the Matthews property to the community district. That would slice from east to west across the top of that district. There's no way that we got that property valuation because the property has to be contiguous. So they didn't request that, but my point is, when possible, Jody accommodated that and she divided the land. So everything worked out in that regard. Through this process, I've gotten numerous questions and concerns. So with that said, one of the concerns is our school district received less percentage of land evaluation and percentage of students that the plan on attending the school next year. We want a full property evaluation. I'm sure there will be individuals here tonight that will be concerned about their district is not getting the same amount of land percentage as the student percentage is. And like I said, Jody did her best to approve that plan, and if there are some that received more, and some that didn't receive full amount. Just a side note, it's very interesting in this process that parents filled out this survey and then put those to percentages, find out those eligible students, and then set those same percentages to the property valuation. And in that time, from the time the plan was presented and approved to now fast forward to this spring, I was quite amazed at how some parents have changed their mind when the children go to school, right? So I called other administrators who had gone through this process, and they said, yeah, that's true, Frank. We need to have the same issue. We presented a plan with the information we had, and when the first day of school rolled around, guess what? Those kids didn't attend the school that they filled out the survey with, and that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, and if this board, this county, were to say, you know, well, why don't we wait until the first day of school to calculate this and redraw the lines? It seems like a good idea on the surface, right? But as you may know, a student could attend that first day of school in Dakota, and after 30 days, not like it there, and say, what, I do not like it. Parents could apply for tuition waiver to go to Langdon, or to go open a roll in Langdon, and that student would move. So I guess there never is a good time that you really lock in where the kids are going to go, and then the land falls, because kids can move from district to district. So my point is, things have fluctuated significantly. According when I visited with parents this spring, but the board realized that and they submitted their plan. They chose to submit the plan at this time, and the other plan for another concern, we have kids that are less than 5 years of age. Why are they not counted in this formula, deciding how the land needs to divide up? The short answer to that is past practice and previous dissolutions. They go with students that are into their school age kids. That's what's used in the past. That's what we used in Edmore to calculate the percentage of students and the percentage of the land that would be transferred. Another concern, once again, kids moving back to the farm and going to raise a family there, we want our land to go to the district of our choice. In the past, dissolution hearings, my understanding is priority is given to those parents that have school-age children that want their land attached to another district. That's the first priority. The second priority are those that are standard rate and say they would prefer their land to go to another district or not. That in the past is one secondary priority, but still considered a community. I know of families that have open enrolled in the neighboring school district and they have purchased a second home in the district. Why do they come when you don't claim the land value percentage? My answer to that is I asked each of those parents that purchased second homes where their primary residence is, and they've stated it is on the farm in the Edmore district. I haven't taken the time this last year to find out, try to their residents to see if they're actually sleeping or how many nights a week they're sleeping there, but I took them at their word that that is their primary residence. Other concern I heard, planning calls for transferring money to the city of Edmore. When our school district was reorganized decades ago, this was not an option. Why can't this be done now, and why can't our town get some of that money? Well, the answer is that building in Edmore, it has been available to all the towns that are still part of the Edmore district. It's available for them. It's been available to them for decades and will be available for them in the future. Also, I can't speak as to why that several decades ago, that board didn't direct their superintendent to possibly move forward with changing legislation. The Edmore board directly to do that, and we're at this time now where it is legal to transfer funds and sell property and transfer property to less fair market value. It's in Senate now. Since you sent out the parent survey, parents to change their mind, would you redraw the district boundaries to reflect the updated information? You know, our board could have, I suppose, asked that this be postponed. They chose not to. That was up for this committee to decide what they want to do. In closing my testimony, this isn't a perfect system, and the board still presents this plan in its entirety, and we feel it's the best plan that we work through, and it's up to the county committee, obviously, to determine whether to approve that plan or make adjustments. So with that, Chairman Griffith, I stand for questions.
Thank you. Good synopsis of the process that you went through to go ahead with this voluntary dissolution. So appreciate your time. Questions from the board?
Chairman, right, so what was the reaction within your school district, especially your patrons, when you talked about how you're going to transfer this money? What was the reaction from those folks?
Chairman Griffith, Dr. Swanton, during the public meeting of December, it was brought up that there would be money transferred. And at that point in time, President Fridgie asked the members present, I would speculate between 75 and 100 patrons were at that meeting. He asked for a show of hands who was in favor of transferring. He used the dollar amount of $500,000 at that time. And the vast majority of individuals raised their hand, and there were comments in the crowd at that time that transfer all the money over, not just the $500,000 to keep the building. So at that meeting, that was a segment. I have, like I said, I've had several, when I say several, about 3 individuals that have approached me about land, or not land, but money being transferred to other communities. Other than that, I have not received comments, to the best of my knowledge, regarding that transfer of money.
Other questions from the board? Hearing none, Mr. Shield, thank you so much for being here and providing your testimony. So we'll open the floor up for, is it the people that are for the project, the proposal as presented? We'll have an opportunity to ask you questions, so please remain at the podium. I believe from the board. And you will have an opportunity to readdress the board again. So we want to give everybody an opportunity to present. And everybody in favor of the project, and then those that are opposed to the project. And then we will, at the end of the night, have our committee make a decision. So who would like to start things off? And again, we'd like to limit people to 5 minutes. I understand that's hard for some of us, but we made an exception for Mr. Shield because he was given the overview of how they came to the decision that they came to with the Edmore School District. So those in favor of the proposed project? Yes, sir. Come on up. Mr. Fridgie. For the record, you can go ahead and state your name.
Dr. Fridgie, I'm a 19-year board member, and I'm in my 8th year as school board president. Born and raised in Edmore, graduated from Edmore. Edmore is my hometown. I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of the school, all the condition has been kept with it through the years. if you walked in today, it would look just like it was back in '78. It looks the same, it's clean and everything. A lot of this process we did, we had, it's quite a few hours of board discussion to come up with something like this. We knew there would be a day coming where the school would have to close. It's not something you like to do or think of, but it's just reality, that's what happens. You know, we run out of kids and that's what it is. The other thing is, there was a lot of discussion on the building, you know, what are we gonna do with this beautiful building? How can we keep it to use it for a community center? We do have workout equipment up on the stage that quite a few people in the community use. It's, the doors are, you buy a key fob and you can get in there anytime to use the workout equipment. The gym is available too, if kids are there to play or whatever. So we looked at that as the dissolution, so if it would go to another district, if we did a reorganization, we didn't want it to be used as a grain bin or a shop or something else. We wanted to keep it for a community building, so everybody in the Edmore school district area, including Lawton, Fairdale, Hamden, needed to use it. They could use it for fundraisers or whatever. That's why we'd like to keep it as a community building with that money transferred to the Edmore City with the board to watch over the funds so they're used properly for the building. The other thing I'd like to touch on is the meeting in December that we had. Mr. Schill brought up that we tentatively or just roughly brought up $500,000 to leave to the committee to use for that. But I had a show of hands and there was at least 75% of the people there said, one guy said it was 1.3 million, need 1.3 million in that fund to take care of this beautiful building. And there was 75% of the people there agreed with that. Other than that, I guess that's it. Hopefully you guys realize that we didn't just throw this together quickly. It's a lot of discussion on, like I said, quite a few hours of sitting at tables across from each other discussing our options, and Mr. Schill digging into it, and Mrs. Martinson both digging into it, finding us best ways to go. I hope you take that into consideration, what we're looking at, and I thank you.
Questions for Mr. Fritchie? So there is a sign up separate from what when you came into the auditorium up at the podium. And I think it's printed name, signature, what else is on the jersey? That's it? Okay.
Just sign it or you want printed too?
Printed too.
The reason I asked for those is when I do the minutes, I have to do what has read. Thank you.
Thank you. By the end of the day, we'll have all the rules all completed. Anybody who would be next, come on up, state your name, and go ahead. And I would ask Tammy if she could maybe take time for me with that. Just kind of wait 5 minutes and we can try to slow things down from there.
Hello, my name is Kelly Hughes. I'm the superintendent of Dakota Public Schools. I'm in my first year in Dakota, my 32nd in education. Chairman Bird, members of the committee, we'd like to thank you for taking time to address this concern that we have. Thank you to Dr. Schill, Ms. Martinson, Edmore School Board, President Freezy, Joey Johnson, for all the work you've done to divide up the land what we think is appropriately. When we look at this process, when I was superintendent in Richardson most recently, we also went through a process like this when the Howgate School District closed. And all the surrounding schools came in and justified where the line should go. And we encourage everyone to follow the process. I know emotions get in the way sometimes when you want to follow the process. When we look at dissolving a school district, we want to make sure you do what is right for the students. And we cannot do what's right for the students without funding the students adequately. So the land should follow the students. So when the land follows the students, the tax base follows the students, and we definitely support that. When we look at this dissolution, we're looking at obtaining some students. We have a new employee coming from the Edmore School District, and we've already worked on establishing a bus route to accommodate the new students coming from that area. So we think we've been proactive in addressing this issue and trying to get ahead of any of the concerns that we have. We have the space in the classrooms, and our educators are excited to take on more students from the Edmore district. We encourage you to follow the process. It's a good process. It may not be what some people call fair, but when you look at the land, you look at the percentage of students, the land should follow students. Thank you.
Questions from the committee? Mr. Swanbeck, Dr. Swanbeck?
Chairman and Mr. Peters, how many students are coming over from Edmore that will attend Dakota at this point that you're expecting?
Thank you, Dr. Swanbeck. When the last conference we had, which was in December, we counted about 13 students that were coming our way.
Other questions from Mr. Peters? Mr. Peters, thank you.
Thank you.
Who would like to be next? Come on up. Don't forget to sign in and please state your name and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Dustin McGregor. I'm just northwest of Fairfield. It's a little blue sliver of Wyoming School District that the sea that comes down, it's right where my farm is. I approve about 90% of the dissolution, due to the fact that 3 of the kids from Fairfield will be going to school in Wyoming. 3 how many kids go to school currently in Edmore? 17. So it is an okay percentage from the Fairfield area. The only thing that I disapprove of the dissolution was they set back in the December meeting about $500,000, and now I believe it's 700 or 750. And I know the school board, it's not an easy job, they're doing their best to do everything right. I feel that there's more communities involved in Edmore. Back in the 70s, Ontario, Hamilton, Lott, all of them went through the same situation. They sent all their money to Edmore, and now Edmore wants to keep part of that money and leave the other communities higher. I feel that anything over that $500,000 amount that was talked about back in December, a portion of that should go to other communities, being that they did their fair share to keep up the building. It is a beautiful building, it does deserve some money to keep going. And I know they talked about some of the community members wanting to keep $1.3 or $1.5 million. But some of those people live in town, and you have to consider what does somebody pay in property taxes in the town of Edmore versus a farmer around the northern part of the school district that owns 10 to 15 of land. So please take that into consideration. And also too, I do trust the board members we currently have with the money, but who will be the board members controlling this money 10 or 15 years down? And anytime a big pot of money sits somewhere, it's very common for fraud, waste, and abuse to happen. Thank you.
Any questions from Mr. McGregor? McGregor, right?
My question is just a point of clarification, it's not probably for Jody to answer. Is that something that this board, county board can alter, is the amount that is transferred to the city?
So everyone knows the committee is responsible to either approve or change
Talk into the mic, Jody.
Yes, the committee is responsible to either approve or deny anything written in the plan. It's their responsibility to make those decisions. So,
Further questions from Mr. Greger? None. No, I think you're okay. Next.
Darren Christensen, superintendent of the school. We've got a partner with the Edmore School District for quite a few years. Served a lot of kids in the work. They've been a great partner for us. It's hard to try to figure out what kid programs they call. And I think they did the best they could with the numbers that they get. We get a couple more kids than the local kids. We've been serving kids, we have school enrolled kids, farm kids, and I would love to see them all come in. Love to have those parents make a good decision, and I think they did the best they could with the information we got. I think the process will bear that out. Take any questions.
Questions from the committee from Mr. Christensen?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Christensen, how many students are you expecting in next fall to attend language?
The total number is 14 or 15. A lot of those are, I believe, are already enrolled in the link. They open enroll, they get their 100 farmsteads and we 40 residents in the Edmore district. And they're open enrolled in the language district.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Christensen, you could be a little bit more specific. How many new students are you expecting?
Frank, can you help me with that?
Working on it right now.
If you give us a second, I'll get that with Frank.
So I'm not sure, can you hear back in the back room, Lisa? Okay. So Dr. Swantek's voice here as well.
The answer to that is, under the presented plan, you'd have 2 additional students that will be attending next year that have not attended this year.
Let's see, 2 additional students that are not currently open enrolled.
Further questions from Mr. Christensen?
Thank you, the board.
Thank you. Who would like to go next? Anybody else speaking in favor of the proposed that we have in front of us? Hearing none, I guess we open up the floor to those that are opposed to the proposed plan.
I'm Brett Herman, the president of the board of the Department of Area School Board, or not part of the Department of Area School. And I've been on the board now for about 14 years. This is my second year as president. I guess one of the, I know it's difficult, we're dividing up land and we're doing all that. I come from the soft school myself, so I get politics. But I got a couple comments I think that need to be taken into consideration. I know most of the people who want to bring their land back to the Parker Prairie School District. I was talking to you all strong for 31 years. So these people are my friends and they're my neighbors. And Joe Bottom has drawn up the land and it wants to come back to the Parker Prairie School District. My question is, why wouldn't you let them come into our school district? if that is your wishes. The other thing that does bother me a little bit, we have some families with some young children that are not school age, but they're going to be school age really quickly. And those families were not asked, and those families were not taken into consideration when we start shuffling land and we start doing things. And I know that it was a difficult job to come up with those things. I'm not a stranger to boards, I've been on some tough boards. But I mean, I think these are considerations I would really ask you to consider. We have a beautiful facility over in Harvard. We're looking at putting up a new learning development center. We kept up our buildings. I don't think the community should probably build levies. So, this is what we have. Again, please consider the people who want to bring their land and work for her. We should give them that opportunity, and also give those young families with young kids that want to come our way to bring their land with them. Thank you.
Questions from Mr. Bowman? Scott?
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't get your name, but the people that want to have their land transferred, if this board decides that the new residents of their new school district have to pay all of the levies, including the bond issues for the debt, is everybody still think the opinions will be the same?
Yes, I do. I really do. Some of them are sitting here today, they can speak for themselves. But I work with these people, and yeah, we are a $5 school district if you look at hills. But if you look at what we don't have to put on new roofs, we don't have, and we have up-to-date HVAC, and we have a lot of things for that district that we pay for. And we're going to be around for a while.
Other questions? And in order for everybody to hear me, we should utilize the mic as far as board members. Sorry, Mr. Ramsey.
Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Oh, you can see that.
My name is Joe Dakota. I am from Adams. I'm on the Walsh County Reorganization Board. I'm also chairman of the Walsh County Tax Equalization Board. I understand the tax side of this. I'm a landowner in the district of Edmore. I am flooding their landowners and farm considerably in that district. With that, I represent a group of landowners, taxpayers that wish to transfer their property to the Department District in this process. We looked into it. There was a Supreme Court ruling back. You cannot deny a landowner where he wants his property to go if he follows the law. Touches the district as a minor child. That's the law. And in this case, all these properties qualify under that situation. The landowners contacted me to put together this process for them. They didn't want 7, 8, 9 minutes standing here. We all gave them their 5 minutes. I understand that the process is completely through. Therefore, I brought some handouts. You received a packet from me to get stuff ahead of time. There's been some number tweaks, so we'll just replace those handouts, and there's been more requests for property to be attached to the part of the district. So with that, I have a few rebuttal things. October 25th, 23, the voluntary dissolution questionnaire. The 2 people, families that are going to the partner, never received that questionnaire. So I don't know if that was the questionnaire ever was. We're going to shortcut a little quicker here because I have a lot of notes on this stuff. Back in January 16th, there's no landowners contacted Here's a map, and since then I call it the magic marker map, which is basically. When I start to get 5 minutes, let me get somebody else's 5 minutes, okay? I'm paging through the plan, going through all the process. So, we're gonna get to page 9, we have no changes, we're in the number pages. 9, 10, 11, we start getting controversy. So I have an updated handout for the committee on meeting. I believe your packet has the page 11A-5 on the obligated cap handout. Present one you got was to verify Mr. Shields. Been rumored that the salary is not that high. It is $183,000 whatever dollars still on that report. That's why I can give it to you. On 11A, we need to update that back 3 pages.
There's a little bit of deviation on the last page, on the first page, due to the fact that normal given. One week out of short, another quarter back put in. Do we correct that all? Would be
Does the board, you feel like to read that off to the rest of the audience? Page 11A on obligated cap. This is the opinion of the landlords, taxpayers that have approached me on the issue. It would be on page 11A.
We appreciate the handout, but go ahead and if you'd like to read it for the audience members, that'd be fine.
What's stated is the transfer of $750,000 to the city of Edmore. As taxpayers and taxpayers were good faith and state aid was given for the education of students, not a community center. The amount is unethical use of taxpayer funds. The city of Edmore contributes only 2.8% of the money put into the revenue generated by the mill levy. The landowners put in the rest of it. The land, there was a correction made, there is 2 other cities involved buried on the lot. So we get about 95% of the landowner tax money contributed to the general fund to educate children in the district. When the city contributes so little, why should the landowner subsidize the community center most will never use? Those who wish to contribute to the community center can donate their tax refund at the end of the dissolution. I'll repeat that. Those who wish to contribute to the community center can donate their tax refund at the end of the dissolution. It would be more fair than donating $750,000 upfront to taxpayers to pay their taxes in good faith and educate children in the district. The amount comes up again in 1680. hard answer to begin with to be realistic. All our taxpayer taxes, not school board. The committee should consider the business manager full salary will run the books and is in charge of the sale of its property. Superintendent with $193,000 salary is not required to run a non-operating school. Other resolutions keep that on about 30%, which would be adequate for the duties needed. How many can set these parameters? A mill levy must be set by law to minimum 60 mills, generating about $609,196. Be added to 1.5 million carried general fund plus the building fund for the non-operating years. The general fund that shows the history of being built up over previous years. All uses in the building fund clearly defined by law. Is this a buildup of funds for a community center? We started at 90 mills in 2019 when they were talking on subdivision district. 90 mills again, 80 mills again, 80 mills again, run the school with 40 children, and then it comes down to the 62 mills this year. We project 60 mills to be up next year because there won't be any of the teachers or any of that expense. So the committee should require the Edmore School District to provide a projected budget for the year 24-25 when the school is non-operational. After normal operating expenses of the plant, all required set aside. Let's give the money received from the state school aid in previous years and the surplus plant taxes back to the paid tax. With that, Jody, I'd like to end this sheet here. When we're on that subject, we went to work and looked at tax refund. A lot of landowners sitting here got to listen to these numbers. The refund numbers for the surplus fund at the end of 24-25 school year. If we give Edmore City none of the $750,000, we'll give them $150,000 as a payment transfer building to the city. We use the $10,000 set aside, $20,000 job service, superintendent $60,000, business manager $74,000, janitor and run the plant $104,000, the school board $20,000. We end up with the unknown, which is the tuition all fee and the transportation fee to the other districts. The state plan that the Edmore district would pay that in the inoperable year to those schools receiving those students. So when we play the game out, we come all down, we're coming in with $2.283,568 million. We drop off $639,000, which we talked about, leave us $1.6435 left in the kitty, the general fund plus the building. Remember, the building fund just can't be given back to the other fund. Unless the school is broke, then you can't. But at this point, it has to be distributed back to the taxpayer. So when you drop it down, estimated at 1.5 million left in the kitty. Start playing the game on 1.5 million surplus in general fund and building fund, divided by your 619,350 land tax that you paid in the previous 2 years average. You get a factor of 2.42. You got down here, I use an example, an operator who owns and rents 25.1. 2.5 quarters in the Edmore district. The total taxable value of $126,250 times 61 mills. He ends up with the $7,701.25 average taxes paid per year. So this is the landowner and the rent. And you know very well, every time the taxes go up, what is the rent? Oh, I don't know. Oh man, taxes went up, I gotta spend up more here. So we're dividing, we're giving this money back to both. So we can play the game out there, 18,637. The average amount refunded to the landowner, in this case, $738 per quarter. You have 10 quarters in the district, you're gonna get $7,380 back. These are real numbers, real figures, and I've discussed it with several people and repaired. So everybody was thinking the refund is much, the refund is a great amount. They built the kitty up, but now we can get the kitty back to the people who put the money in there. And like I said, they want a community center, fine, well, solicit them. There's many ways the community center comes about. You get $750,000, that's half the budget. It's not bad, that's not ethical at all. Yes, this is show what the legislator is legal, but it's not ethical. You gotta think about it now. I guess I maybe get into my too many minutes, so yeah, so it's been children.
We did offer a little more than 5 minutes because he did state that he's representing a group of landowners, correct? So, providing a little leeway. And I guess if you have anything else, or does the board have?
Well, I had another correction to the board after the this is the corrected one.
So you correct items from what you sent us.
Correct. There's a correction in that. There's a corrected map. It is corrected. So if you approve what we're saying here, you have a home. You know what I'm saying? These numbers are corrected for you to go to the state board. And with that, I'll sit down a minute and take a breather.
Well, there may be some questions for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Any questions? Yeah. Edmore School, they're requesting to go at Edmore School. I don't know. No, this is the addition that adjacent to the property, the landowners all along the adjacent line wish to have put in the Parker area school.
I'm sorry, we have discussion going on.
Well, there's a question back there about where.
Oh, okay.
You want me to get the mic?
No. They should come to the podium, you need to come to the podium and correct the board. And Mr. Potter, we have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Potter. My name is Bo Cummings. I'm the state's attorney.
Yep.
I was listening from my table over there and just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You were corrected back. Is what you are calling a corrected packet that an alternative plan to the plan that is in front of the board?
Correct. It's an alternative plan for the board. The numbers have been corrected to be current off of what the plan shows.
Okay,
That is what I'm correcting the numbers there. You know what I'm
thank you for the clarification. I thought that's what you meant, but I wanted to be sure.
Yes, sir. With that, go ahead.
Mr. Botta, Chairman Fred, one of the handouts that you provided us, that you wish to add land in Walls County to attach to Park River District that was previously attached to other district or in the plan attached to other district. But some of these sections that you're talking about are not children that are living on that land, they're grandchildren or people that have grandchildren that are going to school in Park River, which does not follow the century code. And I believe the rented land does not follow the century code either. It's property owners that have that voice in what they're saying. Is that correct?
Yes, the property owner has a voice. If you study it, all that property is adjacent, continuous with the property going to the Park River School District. So then it follows the law of touching. It follows the law of minor that touch that land Understand what I'm saying? And that comes down to the, whatever.
Other questions from Mr. Bottom from the board members? Mr. Bottom, thank you for your time.
I appreciate all the work you do, and good luck. I will step up to the podium after a while. I have one more item. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for our attorney, Mr. Hall. Isn't, and Mr. Bader brought up the excess or surplus funds in the Edmore district, isn't that the decision of the Edmore School Board?
Isn't that the decision of the Edmore School Board? Do we have that ability to change that?
Yes, you do.
My understanding, your question is, does this board have the ability to alter how money is disposed of part of this plan? Is that correct? Yes, this board has the ability to alter the plans proposed in any way the board deems fit. You can choose how the money is distributed, the $750,000 that we have been seeking of, you can alter that amount. You can change how much goes to taxpayers as sort of tax refunds. There is a portion, once the school is dissolved and after the operating year 2024-2025, anything over 1.3 million does go to the other school districts as a portion or in the same percentage as the taxable value was attributed to those school districts. So, not that I understand Mr. Bottle's alternative plan, that 1.6 million or whatever he comes up with doesn't all go to taxpayers. Anything over 1.3 does go to other school districts.
I'd like to continue with Mr. Chair, Mr. Hall, then do we have influence on their salaries that have been set by the board for that?
No, this board does not have the ability to alter how much these teachers have to be covered for their job service. That is all based on their prior, this year, the 2023-2024 school year. And that money is designed to cover any potential job service related issues in the other school districts, just kind of set the same rate as Edmore had set up previous. Am I addressing your question?
Yes. My question is a little more specific, and I think Dr. Swanton was alluding to that, is it our decision to determine what they're going to pay their business manager and superintendent? Is that something that's negotiable? Is that an Edmore school board decision?
That can ultimately be the amount of money set aside. The board will decide how much they pay their employees to complete the school board will make those decisions. But I mean, the overall amount of money that's being left for that purpose is up to this board, or to this committee, the county dissolution committee. However, the specifics, go ahead.
Just so everyone's aware, the school board is the governing board of the school district, and they decide the salaries for all school staff. This board has nothing to do with that. As far as the money set aside for job service, that came from North Dakota Job Service. They determined that amount based on the unemployment claims from the Edmore School District. So that's set in stone. You cannot, you don't have anything to do with setting any of the school staff salaries, so they can't change any of that. You cannot change the job service amount. That's what they said. It's written in the law. So I'm not sure if that's what you were asking, but I thought we were getting maybe a little off track. So I just wanted to ask.
Okay. There's nobody standing at the podium. Mr. Bottom, did you sign that when you were at the podium? Okay, thank you. Anybody else that would like to have 5 or more minutes? As long as you represent the group. Anybody? No further testimony in front of the committee? A rebuttal?
Well, I have another handout here that I would like to give to the committee. First, I'll ask the attorney sitting there. The law reads, any property ordered attached to a school district under this section, the dissolution of a district, must have at least one minor residing with its problem. So from DPI to came down voluntary school district dissolution instructions, the county committee may not order the attachment of any territory unless a minor resides in the boundaries of the territory to be attached. This is the case to start with. No minor live in attachment. The student wishing to go to Starkwood School lives in Edmore would have to open enroll in the 2025 school year. So the following proposal of the realignment of the property in the Edmore district, less Starkwood attachment, is shown below. Do you want to make an opinion on that law? Would you have an opinion on that law?
Can you repeat the last bit of what you asked?
I'm asking an opinion on the law that states any property ordered attached to the school district under this section, which is the dissolution of the district, is the section, must have at least one minor residing with its boundaries. That are received from DPI, voluntary school district dissolution instructions. County committee may not order the attachment of any territory unless a minor resides in the boundaries of the territory to be attached.
And the question
is that legal? Is that true to law? Is that legal law?
that is an accurate statement of what the century code requires, yes.
That was my question. So then with that, Starkwood district, portion of Dakota Starkwood has no minor attached to it. The 3 sections up north there, no minor really live there. Down south 11 sections have no minor. So by law, they cannot be attached to Starkwood, correct?
So I got a proposal of the map, from the Edmore School District. I did see that there was not a child residing in the area to be attached to Starkwood or Oakland. So I sent an email to the Ramsey County Attorney's Office asking if the Edmore School Board's proposal could be done that way. And I asked him to get an Attorney General opinion.
And I was able to speak with Assistant Attorney General. I would say that we received an official Attorney General's opinion. However, in my research and in my conversations with the Assistant Attorney General, conversation resulted in, yes, that is specifically what the law states must happen. However, as with a lot of what this section is about, it's about dividing up land in a very difficult situation that is appropriate and proportionate to not only the wishes of the individuals in the districts and the board drawing these lines and making these decisions, that the state board would take that into account, but that it is not something that would entirely get the proposed plan rejected by the state board. And as long
that is not going to be the thing that makes this plan fall apart. The alternative is that we redraw the lines to have a very weird, outstretched arm from Starkweather to Edmore, placing that single students in the new draw lines for Starkweather. That would just create further odd situations where individuals even into the Edmore School District not belong to Starkweather School District, whereas all their neighbors exist in other districts. So that's where I'll end. If that answers your question.
My statement on that is, you just said it's a law, but here we have to start with land that really can't go to start with it. We divide it back, we send it back to the Devil Lake in the community. We take a little bit of Devil Lake, which is overgrown land, and send it over to Edmore, and we see it in the plan, and we start equalization. And that's what the purpose is. It states that the board is encouraged to see where the students go on the land and fall, but it's not law. They're encouraged. That's a phrase in the law in Western. It's not mandated by law that you divide the district by student count. In this case, where a student is way out of Edmore all by itself, we have to look at the proposal that says you read the numbers and see Dakota will get back to 3,400,000. And we move over those 5 sections, Devil Lake gets a little heavy, really gets a little heavy, line it isn't close enough to be affected. Parker has no effect at all, but we're too far east. So we're trying to go to the equalization thing, and working on that. Does anyone know?
Any more questions? Hearing none.
Just one comment. In that handout, the numbers are reworked again for the page 12, 17. So reworked is correct, for the correct number. Okay. But your old numbers in your plan things are obsolete. These are the correct numbers in the total. You understand? We corrected page 12, 17, 18, which are all base numbers that need to play out. No further questions. Thank you very much. I know you have a task ahead of you. I've been in your shoes. Good luck.
Thank you. Other testimony for the board, for the committee? Other testimony? Mr. McGregor.
I would like to say that Edmore is not the first town to try to do something good for its community when school closes. Adams did it. Therefore, Edmore should be able to do the same thing.
Thank you. Other testimony? Other comments? Testimony?
My name is Dave Nice. I graduated. I went to school in Edmore, didn't graduate from it. But I understand that Lisa is supposed to be on the board of Dissolution. But she's not allowed to serve because she graduated from Edmore. Is that true?
I don't believe that was the case.
Good evening. So to respond to your question, what happened when all this whole process was getting started? The Ramsey County Commission appointed Jody here as the superintendent of public schools for the dissolution of Edmore specifically. The reason that happened is because Lisa indicated she may have a conflict of interest. She didn't want to leave the waters at all, so she took herself out of it. We appointed Jody, keep everything clean, so there's no questions of is she, isn't she? And that's why Jody's sitting up here, and Lisa isn't. That makes sense?
Was she actually a member of the board?
Is Jody? Yes. Lisa is not, because she disqualified herself and the county appointed Jody to serve as the superintendent for the dissolution.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, David?
I think that should be it.
Okay.
One other comment. It seems to be weighted a bit heavy towards Devil's Lake because there's two fast lieutenants serving on this board.
And there are weighted, and I don't think it was more for their experience and previous closures and dissolutions that we asked them for their expertise, representation, honestly, thank you.
Someone wishes, I don't want more of this part. We can get it.
Any other testimony from the audience?
John Martinson, current resident of Edmore and past school board member of Edmore. I have a question for the committee. We've heard testimony that this committee can change the plan. Can that change be done unilaterally, or does that have to be with the approval of the Edmore school board?
So the plan written up is the Edmore School Board's proposition. And their job is either to deny or approve it. So it doesn't give specifics on that, it says deny or approve. This is probably more of a legal question, but it's a deny or approve the plan as presented. And that's the good news here tonight. So what is your question?
So the question would be that if changes are recommended, whether it be plan changes to take and realign things and keep evaluation same to each district as we get, and or the money set aside, if there is any, to the city of Edmore for the future maintenance of the building. Can that be decided by this group without the school board's approval, or does that have to go back to the Edmore school board?
So to answer your question, it's a little bit of both. I mean, this committee is unilaterally approving this proposal or denying. They can make changes if they so wish. The statute is not very specific. It really needs a lot of the committee. Jody has done a lot of very hard work to get all of these numbers and figures together so that this committee is presented with a fairly complete proposal, not to take away from what the Edmore School Board has done to put this proposal together as well. But this committee does have the ability to change those things. It's up to them if they want to change those things or send it back to the school board for further consideration. It can go any one of those ways. Does that answer your question?
So if they do decide, if the board or committee decide that they would like to change the amount set aside for the school or for the city of Edmore, they can do that without the approval of the school board.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. So my testimony then would be, the school board of Edmore is duly elected by the patrons of the district. That's your grassroots government. So I would urge the committee to take in, that the school board is supposed to take in, look out for the patrons of the Edmore School District. So if that's what they're doing, you have your local control, that I would urge you to take their recommendation or their plan, because they're supposed to be representing the whole school. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Martinson? Hearing none, thank you, John. Other testimony?
Just a quick rebuttal there. The board wants to remember, they have the power to set all these parameters. The one thing you gotta remember is the school board is elected by the residents of the district, and there's not a lot. There's over 2,000 parcels of land, and we're talking landowners. That's what I'm representing. These landowners that live in Minnesota, wherever, have paid those taxes for the education of children, not a community center. If they want a community center, get people to refund their money back to that. But the rest of us, who put this money in a good faith, let's give us a refund we're due on the back how we done it.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Other testimony, please feel free to come on up.
Joe, I don't mean to point you out or anything, but didn't the Adams School put a whole bunch of money in the Adams auditorium or the school pool?
Yeah, if you talk to the state attorney, they prosecutor don't know what to do. With the legal.
This is legal,
It wasn't illegal.
but this will be legal, correct?
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Other questions, other testimony? I know we're intimidating groups sitting up here, but
Might be time for emails to that here for just a minute.
thank you.
I'm Jamie Henrys, did not graduate from Edmore, I have 4 kids here. We still live on our farm lot, between lot and Edmore. And, our kids got a great education at Edmore, and I'm really sad that Edmore's closing, but I understand. I think that the school board has done a pretty good job. I guess if I were going to go out and draw the lines, I might go on a little different. But overall, I think the lines have been drawn as probably fairly as possible. I did not anticipate that this meeting would be about a community center. I'm not going to speak about a community center except to say that people do continue to use the Edmore School every day. I'm one of those people who goes in and uses the weight room multiple times a week. My daughter's there almost every day. And yes, I know that's not what this is all about, but I think the building will be used. I think it's appropriate to put money into that facility, at least for a period of time. And I think it's appropriate for that money to be overseen by the people of Edmore who have taken on the responsibility because that building is there and it is not maintained. It will clearly become a liability not only to the city but to the county as well. So I see it as a reasonable to put money aside, and I think the school board, as John said, was elected by the patrons of the district, and they have made a decision that seems appropriate. They managed the money over the course of time, and indeed they have managed it differently than we would have managed it, but they have managed it. And they've kept the school open and continue to provide excellent education to the number of children that they have there. I think we need to give them the credit for that. I think we need to give them the ability to make those decisions. Thank you.
Then I forgot to turn my mic on. Questions? Thank you. Appreciate your opinion. Others?
My name is Amanda Stead. Mom, I've got kids that go to school there, and school board member, live in Edmore. I've got a son who graduated from Edmore. I also want to go to school, and it sucks that it's closing. It was a very difficult decision for every one of us to make when it came to the kids. I mean, but how do the kids benefit from being online and no social interaction? You got 15 kids, 8 to 12, and it's a very small class for all of them. You know, like the same thing, I think the community center got a lot of people in there that use it. They had funeral lunches there that they used, and the city has utilized that building for different things. They have a gorgeous kitchen. I mean, anybody can come and use that, and they're very open to all that. And I just think, you know, you let the building go and you don't do anything with it, and you're gonna end up, it's just gonna be a mess, fall apart. I mean, it's kind of a gorgeous thing to have. I mean, when we talk about different things, you know, but, I mean, whatever the city, not just Edmore, but everybody, you know, I'm very open to that. So I think that same thing with the building will be open. If the city, you know, you got trusted people on the board, you know, of the city or the buildings, not just city, you got school board members and the city. You know, to kind of keep track, and I just think it's a good idea to do, but as a parent of someone graduated and 2 kids that are now going to end up going to Dakota, you know, I think that's a very difficult thing for them to do.
Amanda, correct? Any questions for Amanda? Appreciate you taking the time, thank you. Others? Seeing it's approaching about 10 after 7, been at this for a little over an hour and a half. Like to try to wrap it up as without too much further delay, but want to give everybody that took the time to come to wanted an opportunity to speak to do so. So please feel free. Anybody? Looks like the testimony is wrapped up. Does the board have any recommendation at this particular time? Would we like a 5-minute recess so everybody can get what devils like to call fresh breath of air? Or use the restroom? Board members, stop. We're okay? Okay.
Chair, are we adjourned for 5 minutes? Or what are we doing?
Well, Mr. Boston said he was okay.
Okay?
How about if we take 10 minutes? Give everybody a chance to stretch their legs.
Chair decision.
We'll make it decision. So let's see, it's, I have a program for 7. We did that, we have 7:25.
I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order. And I'm gonna come over here and sit and make sure that the whole clear is not totally. But it'd be easier to have a microphone back and forth to the board members. We'll open it up for discussion. We want to make sure that everybody hears our discussion. And open it up to the public before we have final decision. Thank you. I would have gone with the next. So is there a board member, committee member that would like to start the discussion on? I do want to thank Jody for the time and the work that she put in with everything together, keeping us on track. And being a labor kind of guy, I unfortunately killed a few trees. We probably could have kept the Edmore school open for another 25 years with all the trees that killed, but and no students to write out of paper, so. I want to thank Jody for the hard work and the information that we received. I want to thank everybody for their testimony tonight. And I want to thank my fellow board members up here that have taken the time and done the research and the homework to hopefully make a educated decision when we're done.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the people for their testimony. Thank Edmore School Board for all the work they put into this, and Jody for all of her work. When I first started reviewing all the information, I think the biggest thing that was the most important to me, having been in the Devils Lake School District at the time, the Curry School District is dissolved. My main point always was, and it still is, that the land, proportionate amount of the land should follow the students. And as I go through the numbers, I believe that the Edmore School District and Jody did as good a job as they possibly can. I know that doesn't make everyone happy, and if we start moving some land around one way, then you might have somebody else knocking on the other side of the mall a little later on, and we get into a trading back and forth, which is not really what I would prefer to get into. Two things that I'm considering as alterations to the proposed plan from the Edmore School District would be the amount of money set aside for the community center. And when I say that, I have in my mind that the public meeting that I believe said was held in December, 500,000 was talked about. And that's what people either raised their hand to or didn't at that time. So I would, think about that, or have committee members think about that on 500 rather than 750. That's just me thinking out loud. And the second thing, in the proposal that I wonder about it being fair enough, I made mention of it a little earlier when the Park River Area School Board President was speaking regarding the mills. If someone's coming into a school district and they're going to be able to utilize those facilities, whether they're going to be paid for in a year or in the next 10 years or 20 years or whatever, on that bond. So I guess I am contemplating in my mind whether this board should, or committee should consider having the taxpayers pay all of the levies that are on the attaching districts. And with that, I'll pass. Yes, the bonds included.
I too would like to thank everybody for attending this evening, and thank Jody and Mr. Chris, for running the meeting. A few thoughts, and I'll kind of break these out into two areas because Scott mentioned the mills, which is a concern of mine as well. First of all, the land, this was thought out by Jody and the Edmore School Board, and I think they did a very good job in trying to make it equitable and fair. Mr. Vega mentioned a few things regarding the land as he read through the boundaries there. I'm not sure that those parcels meet century code guidelines of 51-404, which states the landowner, the child, and parent need to reside on the parcel. I'm not sure if that meets that requirement and the way he's drawn the line. Surplus funds, that was the decision of the school board, and they surveyed the constituents of the Edmore School District to determine how those funds were to be utilized or dispersed. And visited with the school board president of Edmore, because $500,000 was the first item that was discussed at that meeting, at that town hall meeting. But later on, there was a lot of constituents that believed that a great deal more money should be put into that account for that community center so that it stays open for some time. So I support their decision as well. The mills, you know, if you're going to move into a different school district, as Scott said, you're going to move that land into a different school district. They should be responsible for those mills as well, building maybe a sinking interest fund at this point. But they should be responsible for that, those new constituents of that school district. So with some minor adjustments, I'm going to support the petition. Thank you.
I guess I do agree with, the 500,000 that was talked about at the December meeting. I was there, heard that. 500,000, I don't see anything after that, but I wasn't at any meeting, so I don't know what it was increased. If the whole meeting was actually full for the school members, parents. As far as bonding, I do understand that those kids are going to be using those facilities for that whole for every district. They see here that there's only 2 districts that actually have bonds right now. So I would agree with that. As far as changing the boundaries, we would have to change quite a bit. And as far as what we're going to what district, so I would prefer that the boundaries do not get changed.
Thank you everyone for coming this evening. There's been a lot of sleepless nights trying to absorb everything, listen to everyone and their concerns. I don't remember who spoke about, like a large sum of money, sitting with, like the potential of, I'll just say, sticky fingers. And maybe that's something that can be addressed, is so that they have an audit done every year. I don't know how often right now Edmore City has their books audited. I don't know if it's once every 2 years or 5. I don't know. But I think that would take care of some of the concern. And if there was something funny going on, that it could be caught sooner than later. As far as the money being set aside, I don't know where the difference came into play, or, you know, if you feel that, you know, to keep it open longer is for the increase of the money. But you know, you drive all across the country and you see all of these small towns and people are trying to make the best of it. They're trying to keep people in their community. I mean, a lot of hard work has gone into this. Like I said, a lot of sleepless nights, and I don't know, other than the changing of the 500,000 to the 750, I am in favor of it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one quick announcement. I did have a lot of thought about the Starkweather parcels, excuse me, the Edmore parcels that went into the Starkweather district. Personally, I'd like to have seen that going to the Devil's Lake School District, but that would be a major conflict of interest on my part, so I don't see.
Well, some final thoughts from myself. I see both sides of an argument. I appreciate what the school board has done with Edmore. I like the idea of keeping that school open and vibrant as a community center. But with that, it takes money to do that. Right, wrong, or otherwise, I think it's a good way, and especially if you have the support of people that were at least there that night to do so. You made the hard decision to close and go beyond that. And I think where the 750 came into play when some said 1.3, give it all to the community center. I think they divided it down the middle. And that's where they came up with that number. We've seen buildings that have schools that have closed in communities, and sometimes they last a little while, sometimes they don't last very long at all, but they end up being dilapidated and torn down, and that becomes somebody's responsibility. And only it did Prairie, the county level, it cost a considerable amount of money to do so, because at the time it was, I think, being sold to private individuals, or the community was going to keep it going, and then they sold it to a private individual that was going to utilize it for a resident. That pool had a gymnasium in your living room, but they couldn't make it work. Ended up coming back to the county. We ended up having to tear it down. Asbestos removal, different things like that. Some of the old chemicals that were used in the chemistry department were still there, and created quite a dilemma trying to dispose of those. And so it became a problem. It became a burden to the county. This, I don't think, will become a burden to the county for quite some time for the citizens of other areas. And it's not just Edmore, I don't think. You can't define a community as that small little geographical dot on the map. I think the community was northeastern North Dakota, where Edmore, Langdon, Parker River, Dakota, Adams, Munich, Starkweather, all those areas. That's our community. And I guess I would leave it at that and ask for any further comments from the board. If we're comfortable with the testimony that we heard, the proposal before us, I would open up the floor for your motion.
Mr. Chairman, I have one comment to clarify a little on the amount of money.
Microphone, please, Mr. Freaky. And I don't want to get into a back and forth discussion and open up the floor for further debate, but go ahead.
Okay, I'd just like to clarify the amount of money that we're talking here. So when Mr. Shill was given his presentation that night, and he brought it up as we were thinking about 500,000, the comment in the crowd right away from a person said, why only 500,000, why not leave whatever we can do? So that's, then we had discussion after that, that's where we came up with the 750,000. Because we're like, well, halfway, we not possibly could have left what we were proposing. So that's where that 750 came in over the proposed 500,000.
Doug, was that what was raised to the people that were there too then that supported that amount?
Well, the people there, I said, okay, if it's 1.3 million, leave that. And then when I was bored, we went back and said, well, that's quite a bit of money, we can't do that. So that's where we came up with the 750,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
On page 15 of your packet, conditions affecting the welfare of the students in the dissolving school district and the adjacent school districts was like blank, because I felt that you would need to fill that out as it's opinion based. If you want to leave it blank, you can, page 15 of your packet. But that wasn't a known fact prior to the hearing. Some things have been said. If you want to fill in some things there, or some statements. And also on page 16, or page 17, potential to equalize and increase the educational opportunities in students in each affected district. Blank, because again, about opinion. Do you want to put anything in either of those pages? Prior to making a motion. Well, if you're going to make a motion, you ask for a motion on the decision, I'd like to maybe fill in those areas that have something to say. Sorry, Auntie.
I guess on page 17, what I'm thinking on potential for equal and increased educational opportunities for students in each affected district, to me, you're increasing the educational opportunities for all of the Edmore students. Is that okay to put there? Okay.
On page 15, that I left blank, as far as condition affecting welfare of students in the Dissolution school district and adjacent school districts. Does the board have any comments? You don't have to have any comments, if it's best. So is it okay for right now, Nina? Okay. Number 17, will the educational opportunities for the students will increase and the potential to equalize. Are there any other relevant factors on page 18 that the board feels is important in their decision? None? Okay. And we are proposed to effective date of the dissolution is approved in July, June 30th, 2025, correct? I want to put that in. Okay, back to chairperson, sorry.
Okay, everybody clear on what Jody had indicated to us? Committee members are ready to go ahead with a motion. Working out the right wording. Get that clarified in the motion. This contract.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chair. My motion is to approve the petition with the following change. Landowners who are currently are in the Edmore School District and will have their land in either of the allotted school districts shall be responsible for the entire levy of those districts. Does everybody understand that motion? So we're looking at page 11A under item 1. The first paragraph would be the only paragraph, I believe. The Edmore School District Board of Directors requests that Edmore School District patrons are subject to all the receiving school district's levies, and then take out where it requests to exempt them from the bonding indebtedness.
rewording my motion.
Well, I'm trying to clarify, so it would be on the,
I agree.
on page 11A.
So what I heard was landowners shall be responsible for all the levies of the district they are attached to, including any existing debt.
Like in, point of parliamentary procedure, we should have a second before we have any further.
Okay, I just want to make sure the motion is clear.
You are correct.
I'll second that discussion.
We have a second and a motion and a second. And for clarification, Dr. Swan, if you could reread your motion.
My motion is to approve the petition with the following change. Landowners who are currently in the Edmore school district will have their land in either of the bonded school districts shall be responsible for the entire levy of those bonded school districts.
So that is the motion, and we have a second. Further discussion of the board? Further discussion? Hearing now further discussion, we ask the secretary to take roll call, please.
Board member Dean Christensen. Bill Bachmeyer.
Aye.
Dr. Brodsky.
Aye.
Steve Swanton.
Aye.
Dr. Phil, 5 in favor, 0 against. Motion passes.
Motion we have in front of us passed. Was there further business, Jody?
You. We need to actually approve the plan.
So we need to approve the entire plan, not just a section of. That one.
With the following, okay, yeah.
Okay. So everybody that voted affirmative understood that. Thank you again for everybody for coming. Meeting adjourned.
Okay.